Hey y'all, so it's obvious why I'm making this video because of the title of it. I've been out of the Marine Corps now for just over 14 months, technically. Um, suicide ain't no joke. Comes at you in the most weirdest and unexplained ways for the most odd of reasons. And it's activated, for lack of a better word, for the most random stuff sometimes. And I'm making this video so that hopefully some people can help those who are struggling with it too. For one, if you have a friend who, regardless if they were in the service or not, this applies to everybody, every single human being. If you know that they're normally a very positive person, and they're just, the kind of person who you perceive, or not even you perceive, they do kind of light up the room a little bit, or put a smile on your face, and you see that they're not acting like that anymore. What people think is what is helpful. It is helpful, but what people think it's nice to do is to just ask them if they're okay, and obviously, yeah, ask if they're okay. But the truth is, for most people, that's not enough. If you really can tell that your friend is having suicidal ideations or suicidal thoughts, whatever the word is, or you can see it, or they've told you, or anything like that, just asking them if they're okay is not enough. Once in a while, like, if you care about them, you need to call them, you need to text them, check up on them every day, sometimes multiple times a day. A lot of the times, in my opinion, and I don't know how accurate this is on a statistical level, but a lot of guys like myself who serve overseas for a consecutive amount of years, because I was in Japan and Korea most of the time. One of the things that I really was looking for when I came home was connections with people, because I've always been extremely sociable. Extremely sociable. But the Marine Corps took that from me quite a bit, honestly. One of my friends, he was a staff sergeant, and we were in Korea together. And he was like, "You're an introverted person, aren't you?" And I looked at him and I was shocked. I'm like, "What are you talking about, man? I'm extremely sociable." But it was in that moment when I realized that the Marine Corps was turning me into an introvert. And I'm not so much an introvert now, but I'm far less sociable than I once was, which is probably really hard to believe for a lot of the people who know me now. But it's true. If you know you have a friend or even acquaintance or anybody who you can see is struggling with something, regardless of what it is, you have a responsibility as a human being to lend a hand if you can. If that means having a grocery bag of Kit Kat bars or Klondike bars or whatever, some snacks for homeless people when you see them on the side of the road, and if you can afford that, you have a responsibility to do that. If you can see that somebody is having a hard time paying with their finances, give them $10, give them $20, give them $1. That stuff really does help. I recently gave somebody $1,000 because that person was a single parent, is a single parent, and I greatly cared for that person. But now I probably won't ever see that person again, which is okay. I don't regret it. they needed it more than I do. And that's okay. I don't regret it. I just wish that they would communicate. And that's the other thing. Communication. Don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. But before you say what's on your mind, you have to understand that people need to be understanding. And if they're not understanding, you need to lay that on the table first and ensure that whatever it is you're trying to get across, that they're willing to listen. And if they're not willing to listen, set those boundaries or set those guidelines. That's what I'm trying to say. Make them get to a point, or at least help them get to a point that they can understand your position, or at least hear you out. Biased or unbiased, at the very least, somebody needs to be able to listen. It works a lot better than some people would think, believe it or not. You have to be not just willing, but able and desire of your own free will to spend quality time with them, to actually go and spend physical time with them, whether you're watching a movie, you're watching anime, reading a book, studying Bible, going to a concert, going grocery shopping, just something, because that's where it really counts. It's not just checking up on them, but physically putting in the time and effort to know that they're okay. If that means you have to make the trip to them, then make it. If you actually care about that person, then do it. I've done it. Not to toot my own horn, but you gotta help people. You can't just say and wish and pray and verbal stuff. You have to physically do it. Situation will always dictate with pretty much everybody on how exactly things are going to get done, but at some point or another, spending time with that individual, or even persons, multiple people, 2, 3, 4, whatever, putting in the effort to spend time with them shows them that you genuinely care. Now, yeah, a lot of people will say they care on the social media and whatever, and like, hey man, I hope you feel better. Hey sister, I hope you're feeling great. I hope you feel better with whatever it is you're going through. Those are good, those are nice. But they cannot ever compare to physically showing up at your door unannounced. Hey man, get in my car. Let's go watch the new Marvel movie. Let's go to the bookstore. Let's go to Busch Gardens. Putting in that time to surprise them, to be there for them, to care for them because you want to, that's the cure. You gotta have the courage to do it. Because it's no longer if I don't, who will. It's if you don't, nobody will.